Today I'm going to show you how to disassemble and reassemble the Natoli rotating head. These are the tools that we use right here. We use a V-block spacer. We use a V-block, a clamp with a lock screw. We use the pin driver. This is just the punch with rotating head. We use a 748 die. We use some Natoli grease. We use a punch body securing block, the head alignment guide. These are spring pins, a simple Allen wrench, and just a wooden stick to apply grease. We happen to use a Q-tip and a hammer. Those are the tools we'll be using today. Okay, you'll be using a vise at your workstation to secure the V-block. We're going to use a spacer to secure the V-block at the proper height. You might find we use a round spacer to fit into the bottom of the V-block, but you might find that a solid piece of wood or anything that would secure the V-block to the proper height in your vise might work better. We'll secure the V-block up near the edge of the vise. We like to be near the edge of the vise because if you're at the back of the vise, then you start to working on the tool, the vise kind of gets in your way. So you be up close to the front. Just tighten down the vise there. We use the clamp with the punch body securing block to secure the punch. If you'll put the punch body securing block underneath the clamp screw first, then the body could go in and out pretty easy. If you try to do it in a different order, then the block will hit on the screw and you'll have to back the screw up and down a lot. So it's easier if you put the block underneath first and then put the punch body in there. Put the screws or the pin holes about a ½ an inch out from the V-block. You don't want it to be too close in there. Obviously you got to push them out the bottom, and you don't want to be sticking out too far. It'll cause it torque. So about a ½ an inch seems to work well. And then lock down the screw. We use the simple Allen wrench to lock the screw down. Okay, we use the pin driver to drive the pins out. We'll just simply tap them out there with the hammer. And then you could remove the rotating head. You would like to clean the head and the punch body, removing all the grease and any foreign material which might be in there. To assemble the tool, we'll first put a thin layer of grease inside the punch body and a thin layer of grease on the rotating head. You don't need to use excessive grease, but you want to make sure that there is a good layer of grease on there. Push the head into the body and spin it around a little to make sure the grease is everywhere. We use the head alignment guide to hold the head back inside the punch so that when you drive the pins in, you're not hitting on the side of the stem of the head. You don't want the head sticking out here. It might slip out a little bit as you drive the stem in, so use the guide to hold the head back up inside there. You'll use a little bit of grease onto the pin driver. We put a little grease on the pin driver so that it could hold the pin on, and the pin won't fall off that way. There's slots in these pins, and you need to make sure that the slot, there's a little slot in there, make sure that the slot is towards the outside of the punch body. You don't want the slot up against the pin, up against the rotating head, or it could scratch the head or burr up the head and cause the head to stick. So we put the pin driver at a slight angle when we drive the pin in, just for the first couple of hits here. We get the pin started and you can straighten it up and drive it in the rest of the way. You should recess the pin slightly below the edge of the hole there, You don't want the pin to be sticking out any, and if you drive it too far, it will stick out the bottom. Then you just install the pin in the opposite side. A little grease again will help to hold the pin onto the pin driver, and the pin won't fall off. Slide angle to get it started, and then drive the pin through. And again, you want to be just a little bit below the edge. You don't want to stick up any. If you find you're sticking up a little bit, just a few more taps there and get it down underneath the top. Then you could remove the punch body from the V-block. You could inspect the opposite sides if it looks like you went through a little too far, as is the case here. Then you just put the punch back in. Lock the clamp screw down again, and just tap it back in just a little bit. Remove the punch body. Inspect that the pins are still in the middle now. They look good. You could clean the excess grease off with a shop towel. Inspect the punch body for any burrs which might have come up while you was tapping the pins in. If you find there is a burr on the barrel, you should just knock that off with a fiber wheel. Same thing if there's burrs on the head or on the top of the punch. Whenever you disassemble it, you can knock those burrs off as well on a fiber wheel. You have a 748 die that you should slide over top of the punch body to make sure that it's smooth there, which is good. That's how you would assemble, disassemble, and assemble the rotating head.